Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, wherever you're watching. Welcome to Be Victorious. Um, I am Teodora, and today I have an amazing guest who's gonna come and share with us his way of being victorious, a little bit about what he's doing and how he's helping others. And welcome to Be Victorious. We are in my kitchen. My house is in upside down remodel stage. The office is nowhere to be found. But you know what? The victorious way of life is every day, any day, show up, be there, do the right thing. And without further ado, let me bring my guest on stage with us, and we'll be right back. Good morning.
Good morning, Theodora.
It's morning here in Colorado, so we might as well
So,
call it, right? I got to put my glasses on because I'm blind and I can't see. I'm sorry, the reflection is so bad. We'll do the best we can here. How are you, Clay? Welcome to Be Victorious. Thank you for being here.
I'm great, Theodora. How are you?
I'm
It's a
very good.
pleasure to be here.
You're so amazing. I can't wait to share your story with my audience. We have Scott with us. Good morning. Good morning, Scott.
Good
I
morning.
hope you have a great day. And so let's let me ask you straight in, and then let's go in. How do we know each other? How did we connect?
Well, we first connected on Facebook, um,
Social
and
media is
uh,
amazing, right?
right, I think we have like a mutual friend or something. But I just saw the things you were posting, and I was like, okay, wow, you were just somebody that wanted to know better. So
Right. Yes. And so you live here in Colorado, but I
yes,
know that your journey and you were not born in Colorado, correct?
right. I was
So
born
tell
in
me a little bit about growing up. Where were you born?
I was born in Kansas City, Missouri. It's funny, Kansas City is a twin city with half in Missouri, half in Kansas. My parents lived in Kansas City, Kansas, but the closest hospital was across the river in Missouri. so so I lived in Kansas for the first 5 years of my life, but my birth certificate says Kansas City, Missouri on it. Um, uh, when I was right around my fifth birthday, actually, my parents moved down to Dallas, Texas, and I lived in Dallas for 5 years, and then in Houston, Texas for 3 years, and then in Tyler, Texas for 2 years, and then we moved to Monroe, Louisiana, where I lived until I was about 28. Um, at that point, I decided to see the rest of the world. I moved up to the Chicago area and spent really like 10 years there, then moved to the Seattle area, and then eventually to Lakewood, Colorado,
Nice.
um, which is
Which one
funny.
was your favorite out of all this
You
moving around
know,
the
when
country?
I was a kid in Texas, I had an opportunity to come here to Colorado for about 3 days or so, and I just fell in love with the mountains. And I remember, having lived in, the flat part of the country all my life. It was the first time I saw some of these majestic mountains, and I was just like holding back tears
Wow.
at the beauty,
Wow.
and I told myself I have to live here. I've got to live here someday. And so in 2009, I made that into a reality. Um, I moved away for a year and a half from June of 2013 till January of 2015. I was in South Carolina where one of my sisters lives. But I've been in Colorado about 11 years total now, something like that.
And it's
Uh,
beautiful and it's home, right?
yeah, I
Home.
love it here. It's just amazing.
Yes.
And I really can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be as far as, the nature, just how beautiful everything is here.
Right. So I know you talked about your father being in sales. You know, you
Mhm.
and I talked, and
Right.
you had this entrepreneur growing up boost, right?
Right.
Is that, tell me a little bit about how was it growing up with having a model in your father that was just inspiring you. And
It was really a blessing. My father sold insulation to the people building the skyscrapers in the downtown areas. And so, even one building, if you could get the contract for the insulation that covered all the pipes, etc., for just one building that was 75 stories high, then
yes,
it was a huge sale. And um, it's funny, I was racking my brain today trying to remember. Oh, yeah, it actually just came to me. He worked for a company that was called Guston Bacon. And uh, it's like kind of sort of fun to say Guston Bacon Insulation, right? Well, he did so well as a salesperson in the downtown Dallas area that another company, a much bigger insulation company called Certainty, you'll probably see that driving down the highway, you'll see, like a truck full of insulation that says Certainty. People know that name much better, but they bought Guston Bacon just because of the results that my father was getting in sales. They were like, well, we've got this little company out selling us, so they bought his company out, and he continued to work for them, and was one of the top producers for Certainty. Um, they
that was your
went
model.
right, and he did so well in Dallas. Then when they started developing buildings in Houston, Texas, and they moved him down there to sell insulation to the people building the skyscrapers down there. Um, we had, like, when I was, uh, I think, 8 years old, I needed an emergency appendectomy, and it I almost died. It took them 4 days to figure out what was going on with me, and so there. And then after my surgery, I needed a week to recover. My intestines had gotten real, not to be too much information, but just a lot of infection, and so I had to be on intravenous feeding for a week in the hospital. And there's something about like almost dying but not dying, even at that age, that really makes a difference for people. And
Yes,
I I just started thinking, like, well, I mean, I remember my dad telling me, like, look, um, we're here for you. I just sensed this seriousness of the situation, and then I came through the surgery, and I really started, even at 8 years old, just questioning, like, well, what's my purpose? What do I like? I'm here, and I didn't die, so what do I need to do? And I mean, ever since then, I've really had a passion for making a difference for people. And my father was an excellent role model as far as that goes. Uh, and and oh well, the reason I thought of that is my situation, like I racked up some really serious medical bills. I mean,
yes,
I think my father had some insurance, but when you're in the hospital for a week, etc., it's a big deal. And I just saw him take it on, like, well, you know what, I've just got to make some extra money, and he just pressed forward and managed all that. And I think by the time, I was 10 and we moved to Houston, I think he had already made enough money to, surpass just paying the bills. So I just saw it as a way that I saw that helping people is a way to, uh, you know, do okay for yourself. We were talking just a minute ago about Zig Ziglar, and he said that if you help enough other people get what they want, you can have anything that you want. Uh,
absolutely.
he was a role model for me. I read a lot of his books and listened to CDs and that kind of thing when I was just kind of cutting my sales teeth.
That's
So
awesome. And so when you become a young adult and you moved, um, did you start your own thing? Were you always in business for yourself, or did you have a job and worked
uh,
as an employee?
I've got both in my background.
Okay.
It's funny, growing up, I didn't have, um, I was a little bit of an introvert, and I wasn't the most confident person socially. But I had really, really good grades. I graduated in the top 8% of my class in high school, and a man came in like March, I think, of my senior year, came to school and asked to talk to the top 10% of our graduating class in a little meeting in the like the assembly spot. So uh, there were like 400 and something students in the senior class. So they just rattled off about 40 names and just asked us all to come down, and I
Right.
was one of them. And he worked for a company called the Southwestern Publishing Company, who recruits high school and college age students to sell books door to door.
Right.
So if you can imagine, here I am, I'm this guy that really almost is afraid to look in the mirror and say hello to myself sometimes. Uh, and I got trained by the Southwestern Publishing Company to knock on people's front doors of their residences and sell them books.
That was a blessing for you, wasn't it?
Really, it was a huge thing. I didn't break any records selling books, but I grew as a person uh, in ways that I don't think I can even really
I
explain
think that's
today.
one of the hardest things to do, to go door to door and sell
Right.
and get and continue to get that rejection, because people, that's how they
Hmm.
are, and people, I think that's so honorable to be able to do that.
Well,
And
thanks. I had a man point a gun at me through his screen door one day. I mean, that's just how crazy it was sometimes.
wow.
But uh, I, I read books by a man named Og Mandino when I was in that door-to-door sales position. Um, the greatest salesman in the world, the greatest miracle in the world. Um, I forgot. He's got like five or six. They're just little, 100-page books, and they're great reads, though.
But there's one book that made the big difference in your life, and one
Right.
book that mentioned to me.
The That would be the Go Giver, which is just something that I really embraced more recently. I forgot. I can't remember exactly when I read that book, but I know it was only, um, I would say, less than 10 years ago, or right around 10 years ago, something like that. And yeah, that's something that I really began to see that even if somebody doesn't need the thing that I'm offering, if I can know what they do need and know somebody who offers that and connect them, then I do two people a favor. And uh, that kind of thing, you know, I don't really think we should give just for what might come back to us. I think the satisfaction is just in, actually making a difference for people. But as the book points out, it does come back. Those kind of things. People never forget that. Um,
How you make them feel.
right. And that you help them meet a need. I'm reminded again of my father really quickly. There was a company that ordered a train truck full of insulation, and the train derailed. And my father drove out to where the train was off the track, and loaded the insulation from one train car onto a great big truck and drove it to the destination himself. He didn't get paid anything for that, but those people never forgot him.
Yes.
And it was not, as a salesperson, he was not responsible for the delivery, but he
Right.
just took it on because he'd sold it. And
It was
that was an example for me right there. Like, wow, if you really care about other people and you do the things that make a difference for them, they'll never forget you. So,
and that's what you continue to do every day, and that's why we became such good friends, and we're working together because
right.
we're so much alike.
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
I want to go into asking you, okay, so we you moved and you had, you started selling books, and then what happened next? How did you get into, you started your own business and now you're successful helping other business owners.
Mhm.
Let's talk a
Right.
little bit about that, and if there's, anything in between, or
Okay. I mean, it's kind of a process. There were times when, um, so I went to high school in Louisiana. After that summer job, my dream was to become a computer operator. I just wanted to do that. I thought it'd be fun. There's a I'm an ambivert, so there's that extrovert side of me that likes to talk to people, and then there's also this introvert side of me that's just like, I think I just want to be a computer geek,
I want to
And
stay away from people.
right, right. I mean, that's the truth. I've got a really excellent balance now, I think, but I I did some computer operating. Um, I think that was really good for me to learn that trading my time for money was not really the best way to go about life. You're
That
only
again.
going
Say that again. Tell
to,
it again.
yes,
Speak louder.
trade trading your time for money is not the best way to go about life. You just don't ever get the value that you're really worth from an employer. You're helping them put money in their pocket, um, and they're you know it's the truth. They are
Yes.
literally working all day long to figure out the least amount they can give you and keep you at your job. Like that is their whole task is like, well, okay, the cost of living's gone up a little bit and somebody down the street got hired for the same position at a dollar more. Let's see, let's offer him $1.05 and see if he'll stay. But they don't just look at you as a human being and say, this guy's got, like a lot going for him, and I'll bet he could really, if we promoted him, he'd change the whole company culture. That's really rare that anybody even thinks that way. Um, or even if they do, you might be in line behind 10 other people who are the bosses, the owners,
Yes.
nieces and nephews, or what have you there.
Yes.
Um,
So
uh,
that was not you,
Well,
and you.
right. As a computer operator I work for this one retail chain that has an interesting story themselves, but I got to see that. I got to see that these two brothers started the company, and all the other executives were their relatives or their best friends. And I came in and said things like, why don't we do things this way? That's how I've always been wired is I identify problems and offer solutions. And I saw people take credit for it um, and say it was their idea. I was just kind of like, I was thinking that young and naive, I thought somebody would just be like, "Hey, we're just going to take Clay and make him into the vice president because he solved this big problem in his own head." But no, it's just what happens is that it just gets implemented. That nobody ever said a word that I was the one who came up with the ideas. So. Uh, and actually, even my evaluations at the annual evaluations and stuff, my pay increases were just tiny, and I so I decided, okay, look, I need to get back into sales. I did this door to door thing. Um, I was the assignment, or when you sign up for that, it's a 13-week commitment, is what I meant to say. The commitment. Um, I ended up being out on the book field for 5 months when I was 18. So 2 whole months beyond what I'd committed to. And like I said, it wasn't that I was doing, making that much money, but I was just learning so much about life
Yes.
and about how to interact with people and how to contribute. I like to say love is a contribution. And if you can contribute to somebody, and I was selling books. I mean, there was a cookbook, a set of Bible reference books, and a set of kids' books that came with records so that kids could learn to read. And you know, I would knock on a door and somebody would be like, "What's in your box?" And I'm like, "Well, I've got some really cool Bible reference books." So, well, we're not religious. Well, I've also got a set of kids books. Well, we don't have any kids. Well, I have a cookbook. Everybody eats, you know. And so it was just like I knew that I had something to offer every door I knocked on, and I just approached it that way. Like I have something that'll make a difference for you, and I just kept on, doing that. But anyway, after my whole corporate kind of burnout thing, um, which and it's crazy. That company was financially really strong, but they went public with their stock, and they got a new owner who managed to force them into liquidation because of how poorly that parent company was being managed. So even that company, had I not left when I did, the doors closed a year after I left. So, um,
What did you do when you left? Did you start?
uh, yes, that is when I got back into sales. I worked for a company called Transport Life Insurance, and what they did was they sold specialized uh, insurance policies that covered one covered cancer and another covered heart attack and stroke. And that was an interesting thing to do. I just walked into businesses. The way we worked is we all met together for breakfast in the morning, and the manager would say, "Okay, you're going this way, you're going that way." Just pretty much send us down in opposite directions of each other. And we would just walk into a business and say, "Hey, is the owner or manager here?" And a lot of times it was, "No, they're not." But
They don't want to
very
be,
often, what's that?
or they don't want to be.
Right, exactly. But very often somebody would say, "Oh yeah, the person you need's in the back. Give me a minute," and somebody would pop out, and I'd go, "Hey, I'm just one of those, pesky cancer insurance salespeople, and wanted to show you what we've got. We're finding that this policy that is far has far more benefits." And I did. I was fortunate enough to represent an unlimited benefit cancer insurance policy, and um, that can be there. It can be very expensive, and so in Louisiana, there's a lot of people, a lot of farmers, and they're exposed to chemicals, and it was just something almost everybody had a cancer insurance policy, but they it was awful. Like their coverage ran out after $5,000. Okay, that's like not even one chemo
This
treatment.
decision with this company allowed you to continue growing your sales experience. How old were you then?
I was 26 when I started doing
Wow,
that.
that's
Yeah,
awesome. And
and
and you do that for a couple of years, or for
yeah, till I was 28, and then I it's kind of crazy, but even with that company, they had some of the same kind of um, well, you get residuals when you're selling insurance, and that's a wonderful thing. But with this company, they were a little bit underhanded, where they just tried to keep the revolving door going, so that once they kicked you out, they could keep that residual income for themselves. And it's terrible, but and not everybody is that way, but that's just kind of one of the.
how, tell me about how did you feel as, making money? I mean, you're 25 and you're working, you're working for a company and you make all this money. How did you feel at that time? How
Uh, it was wonderful. I remember, um, so we would get together in the morning, we'd go out, and then we'd come back to the same spot at lunchtime, and just kind of like, I think really it was the manager's way of knowing everybody was still working, but we would show our results, um, and we'd say like, "Well, how many did you sell this morning, and how many did you?" And I usually came in with at least three sales, and back then that was each sale earned me over $100 in commissions. Uh, like actually uh, more than that. It was 130.
it was good money?
Right. So I'd walk in at lunchtime, knowing that I'd made almost $400, and that when I was a computer operator, there were times when that was my weekly pay was $400. So, so to just to walk in on a Monday morning and go, wow, I just made in, three sales calls, which take 30 minutes or 45 minutes each. I made as more money than I used to make in a week, was just an amazing sense
Feeling.
of accomplishment.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's like, wow.
So
Uh,
let's talk about what inspired you. So it money when you were young? It was money, or how? What did you use as a fire?
Well, I spoke about the money, but I've never really been that materialistic or someone who wanted the money as much as I just wanted the freedom, the ability. I'm hesitant to even talk about this because I don't like to blow my own horn, but I like to give. Like if people are in need, and I've got a little something I can do for them, then that's really what lights me up every day. I like to volunteer. I like to find people that holding those signs up and give them a sandwich or something like that. I'm not necessarily going to give them cash, but I will give somebody a sandwich or buy them a cup of coffee. Sometimes people just need that feeling that they're a human being, and that someone cares about them. And so uh, I try to find people when I can that are in a situation, um, and just remind them that they're human. And so uh, the more the more that you have, like beyond what you need, the more you can do for other people. Um, I didn't wait until all my bills were paid, though. I've always looked for other people. Sometimes I have the last $10 in my pocket, and find someone who needs it and still do what I can for them. But um, that's the reason I'm talking about is that's my motivation. Just being able to make a difference for someone who needs it. Um, I've seen, I've even been there myself. There were times when I was thinking like, oh man, I need $100 and I have 85, and there's just something really uh, humbling about that. And sometimes, like we all have those thoughts that come into our head, like, I'm a failure, and how I've had such a great, like start in life, and how did I end up like that? Like all these thoughts, right? So I know myself that, sometimes you catch somebody in a spot, and even buying them a sandwich, they just feel like, wow, things are going to be okay. And so,
It's amazing. It's amazing what a difference we can make in other
mhm,
people's lives just being there. And even if they don't ask or they don't think they need something, being there to offer or to just be, it means so much and it can make such a big difference.
right.
Let's talk about what it is that you do for other people now.
Okay, sure.
I know that you have your business is just so incredibly helpful to other business
Mhm.
owners, and I want to know what how do you help other business owners? What it is that you do?
So, thanks for asking. I own the rights to sell software that people can connect to their social media advertising. And it's funny, the other day I spoke with someone who said, well, I don't even, use social media. And I'm like, that's okay. You can actually still reach people on social media without even being on it yourself, except to place an ad. If you even have a page but you never check it, you can run this ad and people will see it. And it's brilliant. The design of it is that you set the ad for to show up when people have a birthday coming up. Uh, the idea being that there was a study made that said that people treat themselves on their birthday. That's what they're thinking. It's like, well, it's my birthday. I wanted to go do something for myself. So we put ads in front of them, and it could be a restaurant, maybe a nice place to eat that offers a discount if you see the ad. Um, but what the software does that connects to the ad is it makes a pop-up window show up. People put in their name, their address, or sorry, their email address, their phone number, and then they actually make an appointment right there. Like, I want to come in on Tuesday at 4:30. If it's a restaurant, maybe they're making a reservation, and if it's a massage therapist, they're making an appointment. Um, Pretty much works for almost any business, as long as the business owner has something that they can offer in the way of a discount. Maybe it's, we'll give you $3 off if the thing they sell is an average $8 item. Maybe they'll only offer 25% or something like that. Um, even $1 off something that's $8 though is a significant discount. So um, it, you know, but what I love about it is that a lot of people already were using these birthday clubs that were, when someone came in, then they would ask them to fill out a card with their birthday and their mailing address. And so then they would take that and send them a postcard. It says, you got a birthday coming up, you can come in and take advantage of this offer. Well, that's pretty expensive to print those cards and mail them. And now it's digitized. And
Right.
the information gets stored like there's a back office, so everybody who sees that ad, starts the data analytics start accumulating. It's like, okay, 1,000 people saw your ad, um, 500 clicked it, you got 100 appointments. If somebody's running an ad that's costing them not even $10 a day, and they see that they just got 500 appointments, that from people who maybe didn't even know their business existed, and
It makes a
or
difference.
of course, but the wonderful thing is then that all their information is still stored electronically. The business owner can still access it. They can send them an email blast the next month. Says, well, um, it's either like, you came here last month and we loved having you. Here's another offer, or you didn't come in, but here's the offer. Another offer. So it and you can kind of set that on autopilot more or less. I mean, it just takes a few minutes to go in and go, oh, let's do a campaign for all the existing people in our database and shoot them an email. Um, decide what you want the offer to be. So it um, generates continued interest in their business and continued revenue. Uh, that first time they see the ad and click is just the beginning. They're going to, basically be building a funnel for themselves of people who they know like to come in and get what they have done. And so most people um, are just, they're just, wow, like that's what I've been needing. I've been needing this for my business, and we found a way to make it really affordable and very efficient. And I'm just really thrilled to represent the company and be able to be the solution, uh, for the. I mentioned this offline. The businesses, the last couple of years have been hit hard,
Yes.
um, and they need this kind of solution. They're some on the verge of closing their doors, and you come in and go, okay, well, let's work together to get you some more traffic, some brand new customers. Um, and they tell me they feel like they've just got like someone on the corner flipping signs or holding a megaphone, with all the increase in traffic that they're seeing. So
So if I'm a business owner and I own a restaurant and I wanna take advantage of your program, how do I get a hold of you?
I mean, really, the best way to do that is to call me. I don't check my email much. Uh, I'm out a lot, so I'm not constantly on my phone looking at social media. But uh, uh, you
This
can
is
call me and leave a voicemail.
what we have on the screen is your correct number.
Yes, yeah, that's it. 970-310-5724.
Okay.
The best thing to do really is text me or leave me a voicemail. There are a lot of times I'm right in the middle of a conversation with a client,
Right.
maybe installing their software for them or just helping them understand what their um, how robust the what it's kind of like you're handing somebody a really powerful tool,
Yes.
and all their sometimes all they're thinking is like, well, okay, so it's this much money a month, and so I always I like to break it down into per day, and they're thinking, so I just need like if it gives me two sales today, then I'm way ahead. So that's all they're really thinking about is whether they got those two extra customers and how much it costs. So
Wow.
really want to take the time to explain to them just how powerful it is. Like,
Yes.
you got something that's, but
I have one
and
more question.
yes,
I want to know, um, um, what if you were to tell something to a 25-year-old that's ready
mm,
to start their own business, what would you tell them? And I'm going to give you full screen here. So you,
that's a really great question. It's something that I wish somebody told me when I was 25. Um, but one of the things that I've really learned about life is that um, good character and caring genuinely about other people uh, really is like it's like a pathway to success. Um, a lot of times, it's so common today to see people that they're just focused on delivering a result, but they don't care how they make it happen. The thinking is that the end justifies the means, and if even if I have to step on somebody's toes or um, a lot of people see life as a competition. Like, well, I've got to beat this person and I've got to outsell that company or I've got to be number one. When really it's it's when we take an attitude of being a servant, humbling ourselves. How can I help somebody else? And how can I do it in a way that sets me apart? Like with integrity, um, not trying to cut a corner to make a sale, or um, you know, just being who you are. So often people say, "Well, can you help me do this?" And some of my sales training was you just always say yes and then figure it out. Well, no, that's not really. I mean, I guess it depends on the question. I mean, if it's something figure outable, that I know I can, like if I know I can call somebody in 5 minutes and solve this question, answer this question, then sure, tell them yes. But if it's something I've never heard of, it's best to just tell people I don't know. I'll try to find out.
right.
I'll do that. I'll look. But if you start saying, "Oh, sure, I've got that," then um, little by little, we can work our way into where we're just not being truthful with people. We're just saying,
Right.
you turn into the guy that promises the moon and doesn't deliver. So, um,
You're so amazing.
well,
I'm just so
thank you.
grateful. I'm so grateful that you're in my world, and I'm so thankful that I get to work with you and
Mm,
help other people and just be there. And it's just so incredible how God makes great things happen for people. And I'm always so just so humble that I it's the power of social media and who we are. It's
mm,
really bringing us together. But I want to thank you for being here with me today. I want to
thank
thank you
you.
for teaching us how to be victorious and showing your journey to victory and to helping others and teaching us that really victory comes by helping others and
Mm,
everything that we do for everybody. It really makes a big difference. Scott said, "Thank you, Theodora and Clay. Have an amazing day."
oh,
You,
thank you,
Scott, I
Scott.
hope today is good for you. And again, thank you. If anybody needs to reach you, your phone number is
Hmm.
um, on uh, on the screen there. And yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thank
Um,
you, Theodore. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
I love sharing success stories and being here. Um, Thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Stay with me here for a second, so that we can say goodbye to our audience and encourage everybody to share our lives so that we can help business owners, help people, be there for everybody. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks again.